All right, turn that bad boy down. Oh my God, we have music. Welcome, welcome. I can't stop doing that because it's become a habit. Wow. Okay, that is crazy. The YouTube is playing all over the place. I should have thought of that. Anyway, live streaming every Thursday, high noon, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You are on the Stone Fruit Roll-Up. I could not be more jazzed, medium jazzy. It couldn't be more medium jazzy about our topic today, which is bringing forth a championing of my very favorite kind of person to work and interact with, which is the disruptor. Man, disruptors really have my heart because they are folks who don't accept business as usual, and they are truly people who are innovating and changing the world. There's nothing I love to hear more than an entrepreneur say, that's not how I do it, or I push back on that notion, or this is the hell I'm going to die on, or this is the thing I'm championing. So today we're going to sing a siren song, a Renegade Serenade, a ballad of ballsy moxie to disruptors and the unconventional and pushers back, smashers of the status quo, upsetters of the apple cart. So that is our topic today. I couldn't be happier to introduce my very esteemed business bestie and colleague, Gill Moakes, who we're going to bring out and join us in conversation. And a little later in the show, I'm going to launch and announce an exciting new project. I almost let the cat out of the bag. An exciting new project called Renegade Serenade that is a celebration of all we're going to talk about today. So, Saturn, if you will, bring Jilly out onto the floor, out onto the dance floor.
Howdy!
And Jilly, and get all the fanfare she so deserves. Womp, 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 womp. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, Jilly. Why have you decided that this is the roll-up for you this month? Tell me about your love of disruptors and this topic.
Oh my God. How could I not come on this episode? This is just, well, for both of us, this is one of our favorite topics. About doing things your own way, about not following the crowd, about finding out what works for you and not giving two shits about the way everyone else tells you should do it, bullies you into doing things. You know, this is about free thinkers, isn't it? Right? And that's my favorite thing to work with, favorite people to work with, because the opportunities for people like that are literally limitless. So as a coach,
and that is your special sauce, baby. That is your special sauce. Saturn, can we turn this music down? I'm so excited we have music, but it's very distracting, baby. Can we turn it all the way down? No music at all. Just me and Jill. Yes. Okay. Yes. You are watching the show about building the show that you're watching right now. So that is absolutely what happens here on the Stone Fruit Roll-Up. We're highly experimental. Music is a new thing for us today. And can't wait to see it moving forward.
We hate music. Turn it off.
Saturn, okay, that's enough for the music. We'll save that for further intros. Jilly, thank you for giving me such a beautiful setup, because let's remind folks who maybe are new to the Stone Fruit Roll-Up, new to the Stone Fruit universe, new to this weekly show, who haven't had a chance to get to know you yet or meet you. So I think we would do ourselves a disservice if we didn't introduce who you are and why you care about disruptors. I'll pitch you with your last prompt, which was as a coach. Tell us about your coaching practice a little bit and why this is an exciting topic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you know what? I change how I say this quite often. And this morning I was thinking about this. And I am a coach who coaches change makers and their coaches. Because this is what I realized. All of the clients I work with are change makers in their own right. They are all passionate women who have a big purpose. They have a big idea. They have a big reason for being in business. And I also coach a lot of coaches. So those two things seem to come together. The kind of coaches that I work with also are of that mindset. They are also people who are kicking the kind of way we've always done things to the curb. So really, that's me. I'm a business coach. Foremost, I help people bring their big ideas to life, their wild visions for what they really want their business to be. I always talk about full fat business. Yeah. So really bringing to life the full fat version of the business you really want, because so often we kind of tinker away with this light version, the one we think's available to us. We stay playing small, and I just refuse to let my clients do that. If you don't want to be dramatically and radically held accountable, I'm not the coach for you, because I will hold you 100% accountable for getting to where you want to go.
My God, that is the truth.
I'm not a coach for the faint-hearted.
Don't try and get away with it. Jilly will put you right back on track.
I will.
Is that
in a loving and kind way? It's for your own good.
And it's for your own good, which is why we are so simpatico, because I'd rather have the truth than the go ahead on any day. And I've said this before about you. I think the beauty of that is that you force. When you're in when I'm in the coaching seat and you're in the coachee seat and you're in the coaching seat, and you really give me that pushback, it forces me to make a case for business. So whether I follow that advice or I don't, sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. I go with my gut, or I'm like, yes, you're right, Jilly. I would overcomplicate water. Thank you for reminding me.
You're a true renegade yourself. So quite often you will turn around and make the case staunchly for this idea that you've had, that I've given you pushback on. And do you know what? I love when that happens, because then that's when I've really done my job. Because I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to agree that something you think is a good idea is a good idea. I have to agree with that. But what I do have an obligation to do as a coach is to make you think about it from every single faceted side and really make the case for it. Because then we know that you're owning this. You are absolutely going with this idea, whether I like it or not. And that's as it should be.
It's hard to make a case for something that's never been done before, or that no one's doing it that way, which I think is the heart of what we're talking about today in terms of disruptors. Is
good point.
If no one's done it that way before, or very few people are, and then someone's like, make a case for business, sometimes you just got to be like, Tony and I talk about it all the time. Tony's in the comments. Hey, Tony. All the time is like, what does I feel mean in a statement? I feel like this is the thing we should do. It's hard to justify that. And I know that's made me a hard person sometimes to coach, because the further we'll talk about how things like are built and business gets done, sometimes the further I'll dig my heels into the sand. How do you get like real resistors out of their own way, who might be being disruptive for a disruptive sake in a coaching session? ?
Again, it's not my job as a coach isn't necessarily to change someone's mind in terms of the decision they're going to make. But my job is to make sure that their mind, when it processes their idea, has really explored every tiny crevice of that idea. So take you, for example. You and I have had lots of times when we've coached together and I've said to you, I'm not even understanding this one yet. You're going to have to go deeper. You're going to have to really break this one down for me.
Classic us.
Classic. Yeah. But here's the thing. You said, it's really hard to make the case for something that's never been done before. But actually, if something's never been done before, you don't have to make a case for it. And what I mean by that is that if you are brave enough to trust your gut, because I think when you talk about what does it mean to feel something, I think it's about listening to your gut rather than your head. So the gut really is where you feel whether a decision's right. I use this all the time. If I'm trying to make a difficult choice between two things that are more or less on a par with each other, I will really try and tune into what my gut is telling me the right way to go is. And if you get good at doing that, there always is a gut response to two choices. And it can be very helpful when it comes to making difficult decisions. And I think part of why I've been successful in my business is that I make quick decisions. I make decisions about things really quickly and change my mind quickly. Pardon?
I can't keep up with you. I can't keep up with you.
I know. But I do think that's because I really do listen to my gut. And as soon as something feels misaligned, it's like, no, that's not working. Got to change it. So when it comes to looping back to the original question about how do you make a case for something that's never been done before, part of that is, first of all, it's exploring every facet of the idea. So really doing that wholeheartedly. So that's not only looking at the bits you want to be the case, but it's looking at every possible negative outcome too, and just making sure you're taking all of those into account before you say, I'm going to give this a go. This is what I want. This feels right to me. My gut is telling me this is the right path for me. So it's really being honest and looking at all of the consequences that might come with that choice or that idea.
I think also being okay with some of the negative outcomes. Like Absolutely. Just accepting that that's what they could possibly be. This could go nowhere. Okay. Instead of being afraid of this could go nowhere, just accepting that could be.
I think you're absolutely right. Accepting that it could be a failure.
Failure is just experimentation.
Exactly. I mean, we were just talking about this earlier on, weren't we? About how experimentation as an entrepreneur is everything. If you don't have the balls or the moxie to experiment and not be so scared of failure, then entrepreneurship's the wrong path for you, for sure.
We're experimenting right now.
We are experimenting right now.
And if you could just banish the word failure and replace it with experimentation, I think it takes a lot of the pressure off of performance anxiety. Perfectionism is the tool of fear, etc.
Of course, most of us aren't actually afraid of failing. We're afraid of what other people will think of us failing.
Damn.
We're not afraid of the failure ourselves. That's not what we're scared of. We're scared of other people's reaction to our failure. So actually, if we reframe it as I'm experimenting with someone because I'm brave enough. Oh my God, Jill, get your words together. Stupid British teeth. If you, that's what Rebecca taught.
One of those hard
that
candy.
Makes me sound really harsh now. You know that, right?
No,
if you totally position what you're trying as experimentation, then you totally take away that judgment of other people meaning anything, because you actually position yourself as brave enough to experiment rather than crazy enough to risk failure.
Exactly. We babies. What are you going to do? Tony has an awesome question in the comments, and he wants to know some examples from each of us on something that we've each done as disruptive. And I'd like to flip that around and ask you, what's the least disruptive thing you've done today? And then tell me, the least disruptive thing.
The least disruptive thing I've done today. I know where this question's going, by the way. When you turned around and asked me the most disruptive thing I've done today.
Well, then you can answer Tony's question.
Do you know what the least disruptive thing I've done today is? Sit here and agonize for a good 20 minutes over the pros and cons of using a social media scheduler versus not. And at the end of that 20 minutes, I kind of slapped myself around the face and said, you've literally spent 20 minutes pondering that. Now go and create something or do something that's actually worthwhile, because it was the most irritating thought process of my life.
What did you land on?
I landed on, yes, I don't give a shit if your reach goes down, or if you're, if like there's some kind of different platforms don't like you using something. I don't care. I want to get my content out, and the pros of being able to do that in advance and have my VA help me do that way outweigh the benefits of posting in real time, which is, you know, if you can do that, power to you, because it's the best way to do it. But it's not practical for someone who creates a lot, and I keep creating more content, and I can't keep sitting here just posting it in real time. So that was the outcome. Was, yeah, I don't give a shit about the impact. I'm definitely using this.
I would argue that was also the most disruptive thing you've done today, because letting go of how we should do social media for the most of all the things only spins us out into being less effective someplace else. So the fact that you were willing to weigh all your outcomes, know that you're going to lose people, the tags aren't going to be as effective, you're going to have to, you know, you can't go in back and edit, and you get kind of trapped in this, like, you know, mouse maze of effectiveness. So the least disruptive thing you did today, which was consider a social media scheduler, was also the most disruptive thing you did today.
Thank you. I like looking at it that way.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
What a good question. The least disruptive thing I did today was promote this show, because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I am absolutely supposed to be doing, is making sure that I promoted it on LinkedIn, which is it, baby. Because I did respond in comments today. I think actually putting real conversation in the comments is something that is disruptive, because too often just the culture of social media is to, you know, react to the post and at most put a 1 or 2 word comment or something very like blithe in, you know, sliding in there and just being like, well, I checked that box. But instead, you know, really trying to show up for yourself and other people in the comments in a way that's an engaging way. But I would say the least disruptive thing is posting on LinkedIn about this very show.
I think it's really funny you saying that, because as you were saying that, it got me thinking, like, you know how it's really easy for me and you, people like us, to be disruptive in our work, and we're not professional marketers. So for you, being disruptive in your writing, in working with brand, with identity, with getting people's message out there, that for you to be disruptive in that arena is a piece of cake. It's who you are. For me, coaching with my own method, my own way of doing things with my clients, with creating content with my podcast and things like that, it's easy for me to have my opinions and share them. And if those are disruptive opinions, I'm perfectly comfortable to share that. It's hard to be disruptive in marketing, because the whole purpose of marketing is to get visibility, to get in front of people.
That's the rub. That's the rub. Right?
Because to do that, you have to take some non-disruptive routes to do that, because very, very disruptive marketing can blow away 2 people who see it. And that's the hard thing.
That's a story of my life, dog. That is absolutely. Although, what's wrong with it being those 2 people? Exactly.
Right.
I've done a marketing campaign for one before.
Sorry.
Say that one more time.
I said that's the change of paradigm we need. What's wrong with it being those 2 people? What's wrong with creating an offer that is so fucking amazing to those 2 people that every day when you find 2 people to see it, those 2 people buy it.
Exactly, versus casting a wide net in defense of the and. What if you had a marketing campaign for one person? What if
that's
Julie,
disruptive?
and this was your idea on our awesome Sunday afternoon impromptu 90-minute coaching call that happened like last month.
When I was drunk. That was a good one.
It was the best coaching I've ever gotten in my life. I'm just saying. You were so free with it. But that's when you ideated, how about stop writing? How about stop your sales process from being like discovery, the client says what they want, then you reflect it in a proposal and price it in a language that gets them to say yes. How about instead of that, say, don't tell me anything. I'm going to write the proposal like from my mind, just crafting something predictive that you think will just knock their socks away. Wow, some mixing some metaphors. Something that just speaks to who you think they are and completely smash the paradigm of I'd like 2 turkey sandwiches and 2 cookies, please, instead of saying, actually, I think you want a meat and 3, and here are the meat and 3. So that was disruptive as a mug of dispensing with the client-driven scope of work and asking if you can surprise and delight them. Because what if they have something specific in mind? There's so many what ifs. What if they have something specific in mind? What if they have a budget I haven't thought of? What if they have a project? What if I'm talking myself out of work? What if I'm excluding it? But it is your chance to be magical, to present something that they would have never thought of on their own. It requires a lot. That was truly a beautiful disruption.
If it doesn't work, you don't do it. It's like, it's experimental. What if one of these amazing, crazy, upside down ways of doing something suddenly becomes just groundbreaking for you? Like, you get better results than you've ever seen before. And if you're not open to experimenting, that's what you're never going to stumble across.
I couldn't agree more. Let's say hi to Zach.
Hi,
in the
Zach.
Comments. Welcome, ZB.
So many people are lacking on the marketing side of disruptive marketing. Look at 99% of LinkedIn. Everyone just wears the same suit and tie. And the tie photo that was taken in 2002. I read that really atrociously. Jesus.
Zach, do you remember
if you're watching, just read it for yourself.
Do you remember 2002? But fair point of there being
it's a really good point. And you know what?
That's why today posting on LinkedIn was the least disruptive thing I've done today, because of this point exactly right here.
Well, and also to Zach's point, don't you think, Zach, I'll be interested in your thoughts on this, but the new way of writing LinkedIn posts for 2023, the single lines and the telling the story and then what that means, that's the new equivalent of the shirt and tie photo.
I couldn't agree more.
What is disruptive about that now? And as soon as any trend becomes a trend, it's no longer disruptive. So disruption isn't something that you discover something, do it in a disruptive way, and then sit back and rub your hands together and say, my disruptive work here is done.
Janine, what are Janine's core values? And if you don't know who Janine is, I encourage you to hop on over to 100 TV and check out a little show that Zach, and I all participate in called Business in the Raw. And last Monday, we launched the core values episode, in which we did discovery and ideation and discernment and then iteration and narrative all around core values. And one of hers is keep your hands dirty. Not get your hands dirty, but keep your hands dirty. Yeah. And I think that if you truly are a disruptor, you want to keep your hands dirty. I want to tell you a story about my favorite story about disruption ever in my life that I heard like 15 years ago. I don't know if this is apocryphal or not. However, the story is about a college applicant who submitted the answer to their college, that's university, Jilly. And here, I don't know how it works over there, but here there's a tests you have to take and score. You have to write a personal essay. You have to fill out a application. You need letters of recommendations. You need gobs of money. Like higher education is, pretty much the same song and dance of getting a job often, and it is a marketing effort. So on one of those college applications, they'll give you an essay prompt, and then you'll have X amount of words to write an essay. The prompt on this essay was, what is the bravest thing you've ever done? The essay read, "Fuck you."
I love it.
That is the bravest thing you've ever done.
Please tell me that got them in.
I don't know. And like I said, it could be apocryphal. I don't know, but that story resonated with me so
absolutely
much of like the context
so badly to be true.
The context of something that is like, there's only one right way to do it. The traditional path of like telling a story of when you were brave, the way that everybody else is telling it. The like pressure that your whole entire future is on the line. All of those elements coming together create this like perfect storm to be able to respond in a way that so exemplifies the idea of bravery in such a way that it's just, I have remembered that story for 15 years because it's
right.
Man, that's be the change you want to see in the world. Like whoever that kid is probably on fire. Speaking of another kid on fire,
hear this.
Yeah, exactly. No one wants to read a Zach says, no one wants to, let me show it here. No one wants to read a LinkedIn post, and that's why average LinkedIn post gets 0.2 engagement. Zach, this is your same number as 2002. You've just rearranged it in different words. Through the power of
autism. He can only give stats with 2s and zeros.
He also wants us to know that that's why TikTok and video is the move right now. I mean, I don't need to hide how much of a fan I am of TikTok as a disruptor social media platform and being able to connect people in conversation in real time. For me, it's kind of like the old school Twitter. So I couldn't be more team TikTok because that is truly where you can be experimental and disruptive versus the other platforms, which do bore me now in the face of TikTok. So Zach, you would cheer me. You would bring a smile to my face talking about TikTok, darling, and how that's disruptive for sure. Where should we go with this next, Jilly?
Yeah, while we just mentioned about TikTok, I would just like to say I'm the least disruptive TikToker because I get addicted to all these stupid like filter things and trying the filters because they make me laugh so much. But they're the least disruptive thing you can ever do on TikTok is just jump on the trends and do the filters. But I can't help it. I'm literally addicted to them. There's one
I would argue
where you just try all the Snapchat filters and I'm so late to this game, but I can entertain myself for hours looking at them.
I would argue that that's the disruptive side of TikTok. Is that for you, your experience is what makes you happy. Look, on Facebook and on Instagram, and to Zach's point, on LinkedIn, we are all drinking from the same water fountain. Everybody, if you're on Facebook, you're getting like the heteronormative, pro-capitalist, like very straight, very kind of like, old way of thinking, same way we've always done things in your feed, and you and I are pretty much experiencing the same thing. Even though we know,
if those are your ideal clients, then that's where you need to be. Remember, if if your ideal clients all make their buying decisions based on a really good LinkedIn post, then more power. That's perfect. Then do that. But is that really true? Is that really true? Or do people actually buy from the people that they get caught up with because they see the real them on things like this video, on things like really well thought out opinion pieces shared on a blog post or something like that? Is that really where engagement comes from? Because I think so. I don't think it does come from cookie cutter LinkedIn posts and Instagram. posts.
Well, LinkedIn's just changed its algorithm. Did you read that last
Has
week?
it? No.
Yeah, I have a little discussion about it on another show I'm on. 100 TV live stream panel, which is at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays at the 100 TV YouTube channel, hosted by Ross Brand. I'm getting so
You're
good with
basically
these.
just a TV personality.
That's all dude. Okay, I don't mean to be
Literally,
small,
you're a
but
TV personality.
well,
I love it.
I want to put air quotes there, but it's not true. I have 3 shows going right now, and it feels so crazy to even say that out loud. But it's like, oh, I have 3 weekly shows. So, but we do talk about the new LinkedIn algorithm last week on the 100 TV live stream panel. And so I happen to know a little bit about it. LinkedIn is trying very hard now to shift our perspective into boosting or promoting our posts within our actual network. They're valuing like thought leadership and real advice and seasoned advice and people who respond in the comments longer than 2 sentences. And I say hooray, because that really is content driven. And when you think about LinkedIn and Medium, they're actually the same thing, and it's creating this like giant publishing platform. So it makes sense. But to your point of like now the new normal and LinkedIn posts is the like what I see now looked like emails 5 years ago of like one line, drama dots, the ellipsis, then and then I realized when I was eating ice cream that ice cream is just like business, and they're reading exactly the same as nurture campaigns from 5 years ago. And now we're going to get bored with that. So I think boredom is it's the devil's volleyball, if you will. Zach has more to say. Zach needs to come on this show, man. Let's see what Zach has to say.
Yeah,
Zach, thanks for being so on it today with us. You're awesome to have here. TikTok trends are disruptive, in my opinion. It's different than the brands that just post ads and do the same stuff they've been posting since they started. Absolutely. Yeah. And you can be extremely meta with it. And I just saw one the other day for an ice cream shop, and the perspective POV was like, well, here's your ice cream cone. The customer says, I want a chocolate, and the cashier just picks up the ice cream cone and chucks it at the other coworker, and it lands right on the side of her face. You don't have that kind of freedom of expression on these other platforms. So I agree that this is a place to be like, oh, that was interesting. You can kind of show, you can not wear makeup, as they say on TikTok, I think in a powerful way, which is, this is why I love it for sure. Saturn says that they saw that one, so it's working.
There we go.
I did read a story the other day on LinkedIn about the power of influencers and how influencers resonate more with an audience. Like if I were like, so anyway, you guys, I was just, this hydro flask sure is keeping my water cold. That resonates more with the audience, but it doesn't translate into more sales on the brand side. So while we like this more,
been my pushback with TikTok. Yeah, I think I get it. The engagement is sky high, but is that equating to sales? And for us in service industries, that's where my big question mark is.
Yeah, I'm gaga for TikTok, but I'm not on it. Like I've never produced anything or tried to use it as a platform. Of course, Zach may have something to say about that as we move forward.
Yeah. That's got to come on the show.
Yeah. Well, Zach is actually here next week, July 20th, Thursday, July 20th, here on the Stone Fruit Roll-Up at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time.
Very cool.
He's going to do the anatomy of a YouTube channel.
Oh, I'm at Latitude. I really wish I was going to be here for that.
Well, you don't have to snap your fingers in disappointment, Jilly, because you'll have the recording, just like all the other recordings. I know.
I like live participation.
I agree. That is the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. How, in your experience, how many people come across your radar or are listening to your podcast or reading or on your email list or actually your private clients that you would qualify as a disruptor? You don't have to name names, but what percentage of people are actually smashers of the status quo in your
would,
personal experience?
Yeah, so that's such a good question, because in terms of my private clients, I would say that in some way or other they are all disruptive. They all have an element of the maverick about them. And I actually think that when someone makes a decision to invest in business coaching, it's usually because they're ready. They are ready to, come hell or high water, bring their what's next to life, their big idea. They're not willing to compromise anymore. So I think in terms of my private clients, all of them, they are all in some way disruptive.
Jillian, do you
sorry, go ahead.
Do you think they knew they were disruptors before they got with you? Because I find that
so many, they all do. I still don't think they all do. I think some of them would push back at me with that and say that they don't feel disruptive. But, and part of that will be because working with me, I think, makes things feel possible for them, which for other people who don't make a decision to invest in coaching, things don't feel possible for them.
Or have a business bestie to bounce ideas off.
Or a business bestie to bounce ideas off. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's true. And you're right, actually. It doesn't have to be a coach, but it does need to be someone who will help you nurture a big idea and who will hold it up for you and help you look at it, like we said earlier, from all those angles and get comfortable with saying it, talking about it, breathing life into it. But I don't think they would all say that they're disruptors. They wouldn't call themselves that. Just like my clients wouldn't all call themselves thought leaders. And yet each of them are so expert in their thing that I call them thought leaders. They're thought leaders for me in the things they do. Yourself obviously included in that as my client. I think, I'm not sure you would call yourself a thought leader, but you absolutely are in my eyes.
I absolutely do. I've got my Pied Piper flute,
good,
baby, and I'm marching down the street, but it is under your tremendous influence. And I think that what you're alluding to, is really kind of, let's say, the quiet part out loud for disruptors. Like, here we all are celebrating disruptors. Yay, something different, integrity, doing it your way. Yay. What does it actually mean to do that? Right. I mean, particularly if you're kind of having a marginalized identity already, even, as a woman or a neurodivergent or in any kind of the other ways in which people identify as being not quite the status quo. You have got to swim upstream literally all the time, facing nothing but pushback. Oh, well, what? Accountants that don't wear suit and ties, no pictures of calculators? That doesn't make sense. Who would take an accountant who lives at the lake seriously? Oh, well, this one actually has this incredible 4-season approach to tax strategy, and their clients are extremely successful entrepreneurs because they get a life. So that is disruptive. Or, well, you can't, go out here and do executive coaching without fear-based leadership. How are you going to get your people in line or butts in seats? Oh, well, actually, we can lead with curiosity and stop assuming that we're the only people who have information or power. Okay. That's the power of the results of it. But what it takes to just constantly have to just exhaust yourself with your own self-belief when no one else believes in you. And if you've got a W-2 paychecks 9-to-5 spouse with you who thinks you're extra crazy even just having a business, and now add that you've got this super unconventional approach or idea, and everyone's wondering how tuition's going to get paid or gas is going to get in the car, that is legitimately for real.
Yes. I'm just looking, as you said that, I was looking at Zach's comment there. Since working with Rebecca, I've become way more of a disruptor. She brings ideas to the table that might or might not make sense logically, but make a ton of sense from a branding standpoint.
Yeah, wasn't I talking about Zach before we got on this Zoom or the Zoom, my God, before we jumped on the StreamYard about how Zach in many ways presents as just like your kind of your look up the dictionary and see businessman and there's a young Zach Bordeaux, but he's so disruptive in his generation. He's so disruptive for
Yeah.
Gen Z. Is so these like really powerful old school ideals that drive his business. And the cool thing about him is we just did his personal brand development. Says we're bringing his LinkedIn to life, and the original ideas from our discovery mission. Our discovery session seems so like where Zach was like, I don't know if I see myself in that way. And then as we develop it and he starts to see it in words, and I'm like, this is what that would look like. And you can just see his like whole, kind of chest fill out of like, this is what's possible for me. But if you don't know it and you don't see yourself as a disruptor and you haven't had someone explore with their elbows kind of like every opportunity in this universe, then it's easy to just go be like, well, all the salmon seem to be going this way, and I might as well just to like follow the blueprint that so and so has made up for me. But the world is changing so rapidly that even a business plan is only relevant for 6 months. It used to be relevant for 3 to 5 years. Now it's like 6 months, and you might as well rip it up. Don't plan out.
The thought of writing a 5-year business plan now is just hilarious to me.
I know, right?
I'm sure the big companies do it, but it's madness.
Yeah. While we're talking about Zach, I did want to acknowledge his further contribution to TikTok and why it's relevant. And he's talking about social proof, which I think is so important, particularly in the age of AI, of knowing whether or not somebody is the real deal or it's just a bunch of, AI generated buzzwords spit out all over a website.
Oh yeah.
Video on TikTok.
This is why video will get more and more relevant and more required if you want to grow a business. Because people can't trust the written word to be reflective of your thoughts now.
Video even. I heard somebody say the other day that in 10 years we will walk into video with the assumption that it's fake, and question the reality of it rather than the assumption that it's real and then question the fakeness of it. So
that's interesting. So then we're left with live events, aren't we?
Well, I would also posit that like if your positioning is right and you do enough video that you're constantly putting something out there, then it will, I think, begin to reinforce the believability of it. But you're right, live events and public speaking.
Live events, nowhere to hide.
Nowhere to hide. Wow, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, without going too far down this rabbit hole, Jilly, what I wanted to get us to in terms of how many of your clients actually identify as disruptors and what does it really mean to be a disruptor, I'm gonna breadcrumb you because I want you to get to this piece. So let's not pretend that like I have the Tony Pareco ability to get people to the next talking point. Well, what I want to share is like if they had one thing to help them along their journey when there was no other example of disruptorship, or the disruptor examples were very like, men who innovate. If they had something to help them along their way, how much of an impact would it have made to have seen other people doing it? Question mark.
I think it would have made a ton of difference. And the reason for that is that we all know you've got to see it to be it. Like we say that all the time. The truth is, when you see someone else doing something their own way, it gives you confidence. When you see their courage and their willingness to fail, and when you read stories of other people who put aside their fear of failure, or like we said earlier, their fear of other people perceiving them as a failure, the confidence that you feel in yourself to be able to do something more disruptive just soars. It takes on new life, because there isn't really any other way to look at it being disruptive takes courage, it takes bravery. So the real question is, how do you cultivate courage? Well, you do it two ways. You do it by doing small, courageous acts and working the muscle so that the muscle grows and the size of the courageous acts get bigger. That's the one way you do it. And the other way you do it is you absorb courage from other people's stories. How many times, Rebecca, do I talk about consumption and creativity, and people overconsume and they undercreate? This is one of the times when I encourage you to consume. If you have a big idea, but you don't feel confident enough to be able to overcome all of the but what ifs, but what if I run out of money, but what if no one buys my thing, but what if I fail, but what if I get injured, whatever, I don't know, whatever your what ifs are, I encourage you to start consuming with intention. Consume stories of people who did something their way, who did the brave thing in spite of their in spite of barriers, in spite of obstacles. Consume that. Stop watching cats falling off pianos like I do and start consuming stuff that's going to actually work. It's going to actually provide fuel for your courage muscle, because those are the two ways we build courage and cultivate it and get braver and braver. We consume stuff that inspires us and shows us the way, and then we take action. We take courageous action, small ones to begin with, and then bigger ones as the muscle gets stronger.
I did not expect that beautiful answer, even though I was breadcrumbing you to get to stories. That, like, doing small things every day to cultivate courage. Yeah. It was beautiful. And what's the small thing you're going to do today to cultivate your own courage?
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a commitment to everyone to do this as well. When we finish this, I'm going to make a TikTok video that isn't me just putting a filter over my face or reading what my green flags and red flags are. I'm going to make a TikTok video. Not for any particular.
Oh my God, Jilly and the tiki-talkie.
Me and the tiki-talkie. I think I've made like 2 videos before of me talking to the camera. But I think I'm just going to give it, I'm just going to see what it feels like. I want people to realize that don't overthink things like this as well. We cripple ourselves by overthinking.
It doesn't have to be disruptor with a capital D.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So it would be brave for me to just talk into the camera because I'm feeling really hot and like, oh my God, I haven't even made a plan of what I'm going to talk about. But yeah, I'm just going to do it. I'll see if I like it or not. I'll publish it anyway, whether I like it or not.
That is your wild experiment place. Here's what I'll do. I'll stitch your video. And I'll give it a response.
I don't even know what that means, but I love it.
Well, stitching is when we play. I then, on my own profile, take your video and start with a piece of it, and then I stitch a response onto the end. So I'll be like, take a look at this, and then I'll come back and talk about it. And then I'll have a response to it. And then I challenge anybody watching this episode today, Zach particularly, to then stitch onto mine. And let's see how long we can get
this is good. Going. Okay, let's start a stitchathon. And this stitch has nothing to do with threads. That's a whole new different thing that isn't even that new.
This is 100% TikTok either. Yeah, Saturn also could stitch.
Saturn is also stitch with us.
Yeah, let's see how long we can get this.
I'm all about stitch now.
Life's a stitch, and then you fly.
I love it.
That would work.
But you just said something really important. I just want to say again, it doesn't have to always be disruption with a capital D. Right? To be a disruptor, you don't have to be doing something that is curing world poverty. Right?
Although, don't let us stop you.
Please, if you have an idea to do that, we want to hear about it, and let's make it happen. But Disruption can be literally just trying something new. It can be sticking one finger up at someone who's telling you to quit your shiny object syndrome, and because you like to jump from one thing to another, like people tell me all the time. Sorry, that's who I am. I don't care. I love trying new things, and that's my way. That doesn't work for everyone, but it's about working out what your way is, and then coming back to it again, being brave enough, courageous enough to do it.
And deconstructing yourself from the should and should not.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Indeed. Well, I'll tell you what my disrupty thing I'm going to do, and that is that I'm going to start putting out a call to action for my network and anyone whose network is buttressed up against this one to come and tell me their stories of being a disruptor, capital D or little d. We're serving little d energy here too. And tell me your stories of being a disruptor, or how you've upset the apple cart or pushing back against the status quo, and what that's been like for you and the results of it, whether they were wildly experimental and what, some might consider a flop, but then it inspired your next idea, or whether or not you found that you absolutely changed everything that everybody knows about your industry or your thing, so that I can then write those stories that future us needs to feel more comfortable in our own skin as disruptors. That's what I'm going to do.
You're going to actually create something that is fuel for that courage muscle. You're creating something that you're going to make available for people to actually consume, that's going to help them see that the wildest thing that they think isn't available or possible for them is. Because they're the only ones that can stop themselves.
A shiny example from people who give the finger to business as usual, or don't listen when other people say that's not how we do it around here, or just have their own way of moving about the world. Saturn, will you drum roll please and share this project so that people who are hearing this today can participate in the thing? In the meantime, we'll tell you that Zach wants us to make sure that that our hook is on point when we do this Stitch-a-thon.
Yeah, that's good advice.
For TikTok videos, that the first 3 to 4 seconds are the most important, and then you have to disrupt the viewer scrolling. Oh my God.
I can do that. Yes.
What a segue.
Oh, here we go.
Yes,
Serenade.
Can you add the website share to the video stream, and we'll look at what
already
Renegade
done.
Serenade.
She's on it.
Okay, already happening, except for not quite. Share it on the screen. So while that is it's coming to fruition. I can see through the magic of StreamYard coming to fruition. Drum roll, please. Please introduce Renegade Serenade, which is a book and companion podcast project that answers the call of disruptor stories. I'm looking for folks of every stripe, shall we say, every entrepreneurial stripe, or even intrapreneurial stripe. Those are people who think like an entrepreneur within a corporate environment or a traditional job, to tell me their stories of how they are a disruptor. I want you to add your voice to the zeitgeist in like a valiant protest. I think that dissent with intent is time well spent. So please go to renegadeserenade.com, take a look at this project, and then schedule, if you're so inclined, schedule your interview with me. I am scheduling folks all the way out through the rest of the year to come and sit with me and have a quality conversation about disruptorship and the unconventional. And I want to hear your story so that I can then write about them to inspire other people. And there will be, fingers crossed, a companion podcast that goes along with that, so we can hear those stories as well. There is a form on this website. Saturn, can you just jump right down to the form, if you would? just jump on right down to the form that you can fill out to apply for. I ask you just a few questions and, get a little bit of demographics. And
I filled it out, and it's very easy to fill out. It's good questions.
Very easy
good questions.
Yeah, nothing overwhelming, you guys. Put your interest in there and let me know what you think. You can also watch the replay of this show on this page. It's already on there, which is pretty exciting, through the magic of Kajabi. And learn more about Renegade Serenade, because if we don't show it, how can other people feel the confidence to be it? And I love that about strengthening our courage muscle. So, Jilly, you and I have already done our first interview, and it wasn't quite the thing of how we're going to do it yet. So I appreciate that you've got experimental.
We experimented.
We did. We asked Jilly some deep and powerful questions from this set of cards called the And while we had a delicious time, and I think that will become some bonus content on both of our YouTube channels, Jilly's feedback was, boy, it felt really gross listening to you read other people's words when that is your shtick. So
my feedback was so loving and gentle. Wow, that felt gross.
Well, I had fun answering these intimate questions about who we are to each other, and we got to just make out virtually on this session. It wasn't quite the thing. So thank you for being experimental. And since this show is super meta is better, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. Let's follow, what is it, Tony? Occam's razor, I think, of the simplest solution being the best, being the truth. And why are we not just simply positioning your disruptor status? That's what it should be. It's right in front of me. Don't you agree?
I really do. I really do. It's your thing. It's what you do so bloody incredibly well. It means that the people who want to be part of this project, and to be honest with you, if you consider yourself in any way disruptive with a small or a big D, you should be part of this project. For so many reasons, that it's about visibility, that, this is going to be compiled into a book. There's going to be a companion podcast. Why would you not want that visibility? You are being invited to it. So seize that opportunity, but also just to have that time one-on-one with Rebecca will be amazing. Particularly, Rebecca, if you do it that way. And
what we're going to do.
On positioning.
That's what we're going to position your disruptor status within the zeitgeist. That's what we're going to do. So if you've ever wanted me to do a positioning statement for you, this is the time. This is the time. Because there's no more clear and delightful way to express all of this brand magic than positioning. So I wanted to throw that out to you, since you
I love it. Love that. That puts a whole new face on it. My mind's going with that at the moment. That's going to be incredible.
Why not? Why spend 90 minutes in quality conversation with a set of prescribed questions when I could just get us to positioning? And a 90-minute interview, or even a 60-minute interview, or a 45-minute interview that just is the same set of questions, like, tell me about the first time you did something differently, is the least disruptive way I could create this project. So
yeah,
let's do it the most disruptive way.
If we've got time, for anyone listening who doesn't know what that would mean to be positioned or to have your disruptive status positioned, what does that mean for them?
What an excellent question. Thank you for setting that up. That means that once we go through our interview, which again, is the same amount of time it would be to go through a traditional interview, my goal through the end of it is to have enough quality information to develop chef's kiss, a well-developed positioning statement that answers the following questions. Who are your people? What do they need? Who are you? What do you deliver? And why are you special, different, or the one? Once you have that, all of those questions answered in one single beautifully crafted, creative, copy-driven positioning statement, and you can see yourself kind of in the mirror, when you meet yourself for the first time, it's love at first sight. When you see yourself, then you can use that positioning statement to further your disruptor career, shall we say, further your disruptor identity, and allow it to be the words that maybe you've been seeking or craving to describe yourself and what you do, particularly if you don't immediately see yourself as a disruptor, or you're not quite sure how you would be one, but you feel you are in your heart, but you don't have the words to articulate it. A positioning statement will get you there. So come get positioned. Tell me your disruptor stories here at Renegade Serenade. RENEGADSERENADE.com, I think. Hopefully. That will be a blooper. So Jilly, you're gonna come back and we're gonna do it for real.
Can we do mine now? Can we do mine now?
I'm ready. Wish, but I have to be on another live stream in half an hour. So we'll just have to save that.
Just TV personality now. You've got no time for me anymore.
Save that for funness when we schedule you. But for those who do want more Jilly and want it right now, where can they go find you and more of your delicious thought leadership and transformative coaching moxie? Tell the children at home about your podcast, Heads Together.
Of course. Yeah. So I have a weekly podcast for entrepreneurial types who are kind of committed to doing things their way and want some entrepreneurial real talk. And you will find that everywhere that you normally listen to podcasts. And it is called Heads Together. You can find me on my website, which is gillmoakes.com, and at Gill Moakes more or less everywhere in terms of Instagram, places like that. I'm on LinkedIn, and I also have a YouTube channel if you look for at Gill Moakes.
We are going to share that screen and look at it. Right, Sally? Can you not share the... can you... Oh my God, I'm still talking. There we go. And share this instead. Jilly, here's your YouTube channel. Look how beautiful that is. Beautiful.
There it is. That's the one. Yes.
Yes. So as Tony would say, smash that like and subscribe button.
Yeah, and I keep saying to people, please like and subscribe and keep my family company, because at the moment I have 9 subscribers. But everyone starts somewhere. Are we still?
What I know? You know what happens to me?
What are we doing?
Live. You know what happens to me, live stream audience, is I set up the YouTube on both sides, and I have so much sound playing in my ear. I hear you laughing. Just bear with. Just bear with me one moment. Do you want
to do a little dance or something to entertain? Oh, we're actually over time.
We are over time. My God. Live stream audience.
Yeah. So if you like the look of my YouTube channel, please subscribe to it. Keep my other 9 subscribers company. It's a very new channel.
You. Indeed. And I encourage folks to go listen to Heads Together, the podcast. Last Monday's episode was about this very topic, Renegade Serenade.
Yes,
and it was my favorite podcasting guest experience of all time. It was so much fun.
It was an amazing episode. I've had so much great feedback about it. So yes, please, if you're interested in taking part in this project, which I cannot for the life of me imagine why you would not be, listen to that episode of the podcast, because Rebecca goes into more detail of the project, and it's captivating. It's a great episode.
It is indeed. And I encourage everyone who wants more of that Zach Bordeaux magic to join us next Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube and on LinkedIn for the very special Anatomy of a YouTube channel with Zach Bordeaux. I have so many questions. I can't wait for him to help us get our shit together. For real.
Amazing. I might have to send some questions over in advance.
That's an excellent idea. Send your representative. How disruptive is that? Yeah. Jilly, thank you for coming and celebrating both Big D and Little D energy with me today.
Thanks so much for having me. I literally will come on the show every time you ever invite me. So
we were just talking about that, girl. Get ready for September, because I'm sucking you into my world, and I'm I'm holding on for dear life because you are
Brilliant.
truly the best business bestie a girl could ever ask for. And I thank you for being so supportive and also rolling with the punches as we have production snafus and do the thing live. So thank you, Jilly.
Like we ever care about that.
we How else are you going to be experimental, and how else are people
Right.
going to know that you're not fake, right?
Correct.
Indeed.
I'm going to jump on TikTok now.
Yeah, I'm going to stitch you, and I've never put
it.
a video before, so get in there. Find more about Jilly on her YouTube page and follow her TikTok. What's your TikTok handle?
God knows. At Gill Moakes, I think. Yeah, at Gill Moakes. I'm at Gill Moakes everywhere, basically.
Okay, I'm going to become one of your follows, one of your mutuals. That's what they say. Mutual.
Love it.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Jilly. Thank you, Saturn.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Bye, everybody.
Oh.